Good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. A little disappearing act there. I was nervous for a second. So welcome, Joe. Welcome everybody who's here for the 10 o'clock service. I'm Reverend Pamela Meredith. I'm talking to you from my home, but for the Journey Within in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. And welcome to Reverend Joseph Shiel. He's our guest today and our new pastor. So we're thrilled about that. And I can only say compassionate person, wonderful minister, highly acclaimed evidential medium and spirit artist. So he's devoted his life to spirit and to those seeking love, healing, and spiritual growth, and great commitment to our church. So thanks so much, Joe, for being here.
Thank you for all your commitment. Amazing. Thank you.
Great. So we are going to start our service with spiritual healing. When we're at the church, it's laying on of hands. Here, it'll be done virtually through our healers that work for us remotely. If you would like healing for yourself or another person, you can just put their first name and the initial of the last name. For privacy, we do not want people posting full names. If you wish, also, you can add pets. We are happy to work with animals that we love. Pets are people too. And so you can do the same thing, put the name in the chat box. You're also welcome to email the church and they'll have people pray for you during the week. You can email us or go to the website and email. Okay, so if you'd like to participate in the healing, just quiet yourself. We're going to bring ourselves into that space and allow yourselves to follow your breath, long, deep breathing, relaxation breath, and then bringing your intention to receive the healing, setting your mindfulness and your intention to receive the healing. And allow yourself, as you're focusing on that, for your immune system or anything that you need help with, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and allow that energy to be received. And before we begin, just a short prayer to bring your awareness to the healing. Dear God, we join together in prayer, asking for the healing of all our brothers and sisters who are suffering and in need of healing. We ask that this suffering may be eased in some way today. We also pray for healing of the minds and hearts of all people. May we learn to be kinder, gentler, and more compassionate. May we learn to see your beauty within ourselves, within all living things, and within all creation. May we learn to honor you through our thoughts and our actions, and may we be an ambassador for healing while we walk this earth. Amen. As we come to the end of healing, we will continue to remember and pray for those who are suffering, who are in need of healing, and victims of violence and their families. If you would like to request healing for anyone, as I said, you can call the church or email us, and our healers at church will continue to pray for people for the upcoming days, weeks, and months to come. Special thanks to all our healers who are attending so carefully every week to bring healing to everybody. So welcome again. I'm Reverend Pamela Meredith from Journey Within, and hosting today's service, our esteemed Reverend Joe Shiel. We're really happy to have you here today, and we're going to invite you to open with a prayer.
Thank you, Pam. God, Great Spirit, creator of all, the designer of all that is, we thank you for having us here today. And we pray that you allow us to be instruments of your love, champions of your peace in all that we do. For all those who are sick, are suffering, marginalized, frightened, scared, alone throughout the world. We thank you so much for our presence, and for the opportunity to serve others and to be the light that is meant to be for the peace of all. We thank you today for bringing us here together. We thank you for all the good we have in our lives, for the breath we take, for the friends we have, and for the hope and opportunities before us. Amen.
Amen. We're going to open with a song. So, welcome, Reverend Joe. Invite you for our address today.
Thank you very much, Pam. I appreciate that so much. And thank you to the board and to Patty and Karen and you, Pam, and many, many other wonderful people, teachers, et cetera, that are volunteering to kind of hold the ship together after the passing of Janet. But I want to thank Janet as well, Reverend Janet O'Havoc, for designing, building, and morphing this wonderful community together. And every one of you who's online right now, or as far as we're concerned, I'm a member of this community and welcome to be part of it and to move it forward. There's so much to do. It's so much to do, and but I think we have great helpers on the other side, and very, very vibrant and determined helpers, I would say, with all those who passed, with Janet and Mavis and many, many others, that Sue Cahill and so many others that we have loved and known, and I know that we'll continue on with all of you. So I appreciate that. I'm sitting in a virtual background here, and I just thought I'd mention that for a minute. That is the first time that door had been opened in many, many decades, of the schoolhouse up in that Janet has been championing to be restored. And that's the first day we went up to take a look at it, and I broke the lock to get in and almost fell through the floor because it was so bad. And once I got inside, we realized how dangerous it was, so we kind of stepped outside. But there's the picture of the building, and if you saw it now, you'd be amazed. It's just coming together so well, and soon we'll have the garage that was there next, the building right next door to it will be a chapel, so we have room for more people, and that will be Janet's chapel. And we are just beginning construction this summer to get that finished up for the fall, and then we'll have dedication next year. So I hope everyone can take part in continuing to help with that and with all that we do. But I'm so grateful for all of you to be here. I was thinking about what I could talk about this morning, and I know that there's been so many difficulties. I'm a news watcher. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't watch the 6 o'clock news, because boy, I'll tell you, it always gets me, and I'll end up in tears. But as a minister and as a person of compassion, I want to try to get the word out, and I know all of you do too, to have some peace. Our principles as spiritualists are incredible. They sometimes, if you read them on the wall, they don't make so much sense. They kind of they mess with each other, if you will. They intertwine, and they can be kind of vague, if you will. But when you get to know them and you get to understand them and you get to really delve into their meaning, to the heart, to the soul of who we are, then you begin to see how wonderful a religion of spiritualism is, and how much promise it brings to the world. After all the doctrines and creeds and difficulties of the past and the controls of the world, it's more about personal responsibility for each and every one of us to be a part of the holy, part of the God, part of the divine, the creation of a better place, of the thinking towards a better place. So personal responsibility is really what I want to talk about today. But what does it really mean? It's like, just take care of myself, hooray for me, and what about you? I don't know. No, it's really about my personal responsibility is to be the agent or the love of that creator and bring that love to everyone I meet. And if I can do that, then I'm really taking time to take care of me and make decisions in a real way that are uh, ethical, that are genuine, that are inclusive, that are open, and that are sound decisions in our lives. And personal responsibility is something that we always include our higher source in, you know. I constantly say that my life is none of my business, but it's 100% my responsibility. You know, the design's there. I can make choices, good or bad. I can screw it up easily, but I can always take the time to say, okay, what would you have me do? What would the creator have me do in this particular situation so as to bring a harmony and a peace? You know, the lyrics of that song, I don't think you missed them. You know, pray for peace. There's a way about us that really we can be that peace. We can be that light for all in the world. But we need to take our time and pause and make decisions before we do something physically, before we hold on to thoughts mentally, before we fall into emotions that might be crumbling, before we hurt our own spirit in something we do. We can pause and go forward. It's not always about racing forward. That's the one thing I see on all these reports and things is everybody's racing. I got to get there. You know, I got to get there. And it's like ignoring the GPS and we go off track on the road, and we know we've gone the wrong way, but we just keep going straight ahead, looking for the next right or left to correct ourselves instead of just pulling over, stopping, figuring out, recalculate, and go back. It's shorter, it's more succinct, and it is the easier way. But we want to just kind of drive forward all the time. Drive, drive, drive. I have to have this. I have to have that. I want a bigger this. I want a bigger that. I'm going to ask you to just contemplate for a minute how valuable it is to have what you need, to see the things around you that you respect, that you can cherish, whether it be a little, whether it be a lot. What is it that you need? What is it that gives you comfort, gives you peace, gives you that place of solace? And I want to tell you a story about choices and about going too fast, wanting something so badly that you end up pleasing yourself but hurting others because you don't contemplate the whole situation, the whole picture. We're not take our time to walk it through to its fruition, see what might happen. You know, what if I walk this scenario through, is there a good result or is there a negative one? Is there good for all involved, or are we going to hurt somebody down the line? Does the means really justify that end? Or does that end justify those means? And so I want to kind of see that. And I remembered this morning about a story, and I think I've told it at the church many years ago, but I want to tell it again because it made me laugh. And by the same token, it made me feel stupid like an idiot, but that's the way it is. When I was really young, we had a swing set in our backyard. And my father was, we used to say he was so tight he squeaked. But he bought us a swing set. So we got to say, hooray, Dad, thanks very much for the swing set. And I have a lot of sisters, and so we're out playing on the swing set. My dad bought that Sears model, that the slide is extra. So we didn't need a slide. So according to Dad, we don't need a slide at all. So we had the swing set with the little monkey bars and so you can swing up and down, and we had a blast. We climb all around it and everything, but I wanted to have a slide, and I was very upset that my dad didn't get us a slide. And so I decided, well, I'm going to make a slide. That's all there is to it. So when my dad was at work, I grabbed the ladder out of the garage, and I brought that over to one side of the swing set. Then I got this big plank that he had in the garage, and it's like a 2x12. and I got that plank and I put it up against the top of the swing set, the very top bar over the swings and everything else. And I put that down and it was nice and smooth and it went right down to the ground. So I climbed up the ladder on one side and I slid down and it was a blast. I came down, I hit the ground really hard. It was really fantastic. And my sister started to climb up. I said, no, 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 I want to do it again. So I pushed her out of the way and I went up again and I went down. But at this time, what had happened was the plank had bounced and turned over to the other side. The first time I went down, it just bounced up, turned over, and so it was upside down. Well, the other side wasn't as smooth. Matter of fact, the other side was filled with splinters. So I went up the top of the slide and I climbed over and I got on that plank and I went down. And it was like, ow, 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 all the way to the ground. And I hit the ground and I was pierced, I don't know how many times. But my sister's now going up the slide. And I'm moaning and groaning on the ground. I'm, all caught up in me, if you will, and being a drama queen, if you will. And so by the time I tell my sister, don't go, she's sliding already. And down the plank she went, ow, 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 ow. And the next thing I know, the two of us, we were little, but the two of us are hanging over the kitchen sink, and my mother had tweezers, and I won't tell you the rest. But it was really kind of funny. But why do I tell you that story? I tell you this story because I should have thought it through. I should have known better. I could have taken a pause, if you will, before causing all that pain, before causing that calamity. Now, even though it was a calamity, some of the calamities and crazinesses and difficulties and failures and mistakes of our life do become valuable. Nothing's wasted in this lifetime. It becomes valuable to tell us and teach us other things. We have a lot of things happening in the world right now. And if we pause and think about it, it should teach each and every one of us something about what needs to be done and how we should rethink the way we're doing things in order to bring the world forward, in order to bring love, peace, harmony, camaraderie, and working together instead of breaking apart, tearing each other up, spending time on nasty instead of spending time on creation of new ways and easier routes to where we want to go. It is amazing to me how the love of God, our belief in God, which is our first principle, we do believe. And I ask this question very seriously, do you? Because if you do believe in God, then you need to trust that there is a better idea. And if you pause, you can sit into that etheric place, that altered state where the truth sits and is seen very clearly. That the spirit world, that world of intelligence, the ones that have been here and done this before and screwed it up at times, know better because of their own experience and can bring us new ideas, new experience, can alter our route in order to have a better life for all, a love for all. I think when I think back at that swing set thing, had I just taken some time to think it through, to think of the dangers involved, splinters were the least of the dangers. Plank could have come down on my sister. It could have done all kinds of other things could have happened, but I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about the fun I'd have, thinking about what I would get from this. It's a selfish and self-centered mode instead of being mindful of others. With spiritualism, we're given the tools, we're given the principles to be mindful of the world, mindful of those around us, mindful of God. We're given the possibilities of hope. We're given the map, if you will, to joy. We're given principles that are a map for a lifetime to help our own being, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to come together for reason, for purpose, for well-being. We have a choice always to love and respect God. But I think when it comes to really going through this, to love and to respect God is to really love and respect each other, each and every one, and their plights, their problems, their difficulties, their insaneness sometimes, and say, what can I do to be a powerful example for them? What can I do today to help someone marginalized, being hurt, being subject? What was the walk there? How can we correct the path? How can we put a light that guides people home? Each and every one of us has that opportunity to enlighten and to brighten our own divinity, our own peace, if you will, our own fullness of hope in God. Each and every one of us has the opportunity to be that angel for someone else, to walk a walk and talk the talk and take the actions to uplift, to smile, to be positive in the world, for people, for the animals, for all around us, the systems, for the governments, for all the things. If you're in position of leadership, how do you lead? You know, is it all about what you want, or is it about what's best for everybody? Where do we come together in this? Pause and think about that today and throughout this week. What can I do personally, my personal responsibility, to the greater good of this world, to the greater good of love? Because that's where God meets us. He meets us in a loving heart. I'm going to read you a little something, a quote from Gordon Higginson, who's known by many, the Arthur Findlay College and throughout the world, as one of the greatest mediums of all time. But he's a very insightful man. And I appreciate some of the things he wrote quite readily. But he said, before you can touch the spirit, you must find it within yourself. For all truth, all knowledge, and all loving must first be found within oneself. We don't do that by running around. We do it by sitting still. We do it by pausing, taking time to know ourselves, and looking at where is the divine in me? Am I using it? He says the spirit can never touch you and bring love and peace within your being and from your being until you have found it for yourself. In other words, if you want to get the voice of spirit, you want to feel the notions, the inspiration from spirit, you first must find the inspiration within you, find your own spirit and cherish it. And through the spiritualist principles, this is how we do this. We find that spirit and we cherish it, we honor it, we see the value in it. We're no longer deterred by confusion or distraction of the physical world. We begin to align ourselves with our spirit so that we have the oversight of what goes on in our physical world by the beauty within our own self. He goes on to say, and before you can build a picture of love from spirit, you must learn to find it in this life. And that's what spiritualism is about. Finding your spiritual bearings, finding where you belong within you will always put you in a place of peace and a place of love and friendship and others, because it's in that interaction and those relationships with others that you bring the life, the truth, and the love of God. And when you do so, you do it with patience and tolerance and understanding and knowing, a pure knowing that love is the way. He goes on to say, always prepare yourself as a channel for spirit. Stand there with love radiating from you, then God will touch you. In other words, spirit doesn't want to come into a shaky basket. Spirit wants to come into those who ask, those who want, those who begin to perform in a spiritual way, to hold their life in a spiritual means, always moving forward towards that. Maybe not perfect today, but the effort is what counts. The effort forward to follow the principles and be the best you can be for the peace of all. So I do pray for peace, and I pray for you. And I thank you so much for being here today. And I hope we'll see you again. Peace.
Thank you, Joe. I'm sure we won't forget that you put it to us. It's such a fun story. Won't forget that one. It's now time to do the collection. So you can see the little box on the left-hand corner there where you can click on there and get an option to do a donation. You can also send a good old-fashioned check to the Journey Within, or you can navigate to the website where there's a link for making donations. We appreciate all the donations, great and small. Any amount is helpful to us, and I want to thank everybody for their devotion to funding the schoolhouse and keeping the Journey Within doors open. Thank you so much. So it's now time for announcements, which actually there's quite a few. And so it feels like we're finally getting back to the open doors. The first Sunday of every month, we have our fellowship. So that's really nice. And that's just coffee and tea and snacks after service. So please do come for in-person services first Sunday of every month. I'm going to go through them sort of quickly, but always know you can go to the website. All the events are posted there. May 8th, we have a demonstration of mediumship with the Journey Within advanced students. That's online. May 11th, we have demonstration of mediumship with Tony Stockwell. That's online. May 14th, demonstration of mediumship with Joe Shiel and Leonard Tatt, also online. May 18th, evidential mediumship workshop with Simone Key. May 23rd and 24th, creating successful one-to-one private readings with Tony Stockwell. June 2nd, color and soul emanation with Paul Jacobs. June 4th, demonstration of mediumship with our Reverend Joe Shiel, Mitch, and Catherine Shirley. That's also online. June 10th, membership of your personal spiritual journey. Oh, sorry, I said membership. Mediumship and your personal spiritual journey with Leonard Tatt. June 17, grief and loss of every kind with Karen and Mitch Shirley. They're wonderful. June 21st and 22nd, exploring past lives with Tony Stockwell. Spiritual assessment workshop will be June 23rd with Simone Key. June 24th, Edgar Casey on developing your intuition with Kevin Tedeschi. Please watch for more classes with Mitch and Catherine Shirley coming soon. 6-month mentorship program with Paul Jacobs. That begins in July. And Steve and Stella Upton, after a long break now, will be coming back here in late June for in-person workshops, demonstrations, and readings. So watch the calendar for more details for that. We're really excited to have new classes and events. So look for the most up-to-date information there. Very exciting. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So now it comes time for our demonstration of mediumship. When we're doing the mediumship, if you could take all or most of the information, put up your mechanical hand. I know you guys are good at it, but someone could demonstrate just how to put up the little mechanical hand. There you go. So a few people already doing that. Very good. And then if it starts, if you can't take everything, bring your hand down. And then we will leave it to Reverend Joe to sort out where the message belongs. So let's see. If you could take any of the pieces of evidence, but not the following pieces, then lower your hand. So we're just going to prepare the mediumship with where I sit as holy. So just bring yourself into your mind and your heart to your friends and family on the other side. If you know the message prayer, join me. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am the thousand winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. And I'd like to introduce Reverend Joe for a demonstration of mediumship. Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you very much, Pam. I'm going to switch the camera if I may. So, all right, there we go. And remind me to switch it back afterwards. So there's my pad. I'm going to draw the spirit that comes to my mind or impresses upon me. And I'll be talking about one person, but I may be drawing another. That sometimes happens. I would like you to pay attention to the information because that's the most important. And then if you can relate with that, 90% or better, then let me know. And meanwhile, I'll be impressed to draw somebody, and then we'll see where we're at and who we're with. And Pam, you're going to help me identify this, right? Okay, thank you, because I'm terrible at that. Okay, I appreciate it very much. All right, so. I'm with a woman here who is quite feisty, and I like her a lot because I think she spoke her mind all the time. I mean, she just was the kind of person that just spoke up, even when she got to be older. Matter of fact, she had less inhibitions about voicing her thoughts. She would speak them very, very clearly and very succinctly. And I know she was not well towards the end. I know that she had a number of difficulties. Her heart was weak, and I do believe that she may have had some COPD or something, because my lungs and heart are the problem. And they have made me weak all over. I think other things have been falling apart. She had a lot of age spots on her hands. I can see them now, and I see them quite clearly. But her hands are long and supple. I do believe she may have even liked to work with her hands or play piano or something, but that's very, very important, because I just feel like there's a piano somewhere in the house. So I want to mention that too. I just heard the tinkling of the keys. So somebody would have had a piano. It sounded more like an upright than grand piano. It has a different tone to it. So I felt that as well. Now, when I begin to see her, I want to talk about 80s, because she keeps, she says 88, so she might be talking about the piano, but 88 keys. But I do think she's up in years, and she got up to almost that age. So I'm going to mention that. I'm going to put my glasses on and just kind of see what we have here, because
You have two hands up, Joe.
okay, good. So who understands part of this already?
Oh gosh, all of a sudden.
20 hands, right? Because we're not quite there yet. It's still very open. So let me continue on, please, if I may. I want to talk about the name Joan. So a Joan would have been in the family. It's not necessarily her name, but Joni, they would have called her Joni or Jane. And then I also want to talk about the fact that there's some Celtic association with this, almost like there's an Irish background or British backgrounds here. So Scottish possibly, but it's very Celtic. And there's a love of birds, a love of birds all around. And she would have fed the birds as well towards the end. I do think she had some feeders outside of her home. I do feel like she's a very, very kind person, and would have had the nature of really helping other people. She would have jumped right in to help, but she has impatience with people who are not taking time to be intelligent or taking time to think like we talked about today, is taking time. She was very impatient with people who didn't take time. So her timing was bad when it came to, being tolerant of people that were not thinking things through. She would have spoken her mind about that. And I feel like she cropped her hair very closely. And it would have been, I'm going to just kind of age her up a little bit, because I do think she needed glasses, but I'm not going to put them on quite yet. And I think this hairdo is probably a little larger than it was, so I'm just going to taper it down a little bit. And if you were to know her, you would know that she really appreciated her life. She had children. I do think she had a son, as well as daughters. I think she may have had 2 daughters. That's what comes to mind. There may be a third, actually, so I'm going to just mention that. I also want to say that there's a sense that these beads with a heart in the middle comes to my mind as well, so I want to mention that. And I also want to talk about a Robert around her, so I want to mention Robert as well, Bobby. So can anybody
You
take,
have 5 hands.
how
So,
many? I'm sorry.
and I'll just say to everybody, if you can take all of it, keep your hand up. So far there's 7 hands.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 now. So if you
Okay.
can take all of it, you could put your hand down. So you have 4.
Okay. So let me go a little further here.
One of them is the Joan.
That's okay. Let me just, now there's definitely a teacher in the family as well, because she's talking about somebody being a teacher. Not necessarily her, though. I think she's talking about somebody possibly here doing teaching now. So can I mention that as well? How many hands are still up with that?
3.
Okay, can I speak to one of those people, please? Or
Start with Sharon, just because she's at the top. Sharon, just say hi to Joe.
Hi, Joe.
hi, Sharon, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you understand all of this information, or which pieces make most sense to you?
Well, the one that there's really only one that is questionable, and that was Joan. We have a Joanne,
Okay.
and so that's the only thing. Otherwise, everything else. She was 80, not 88, but 80 was a big deal because she, hit 80. That's, pretty great. So maybe that's why she brought up that
Okay.
80, 88,
That's
piano,
fine.
everything. So
Okay, thank you. Just, I'm going to speak to the other 2. And
sure.
I'm listening to the sound of your voice, and
Oh, and her hair, the way you described her hair. So far the picture, yeah, I wish I'm on my phone. It's small.
So it's
I
hard to
mean,
see one, right?
yeah, it resembles her. She was slight with the hair like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
But thank you.
that we have this Kim.
Hello.
Hi,
Kim.
Kim, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I can recognize the picture. Her name's Jeanette, but she was died in 1988, and she was 80 when she passed. And we had an upright player piano that had a unique sound to it. And she had 2 girls and 1 boy. And there's a Robert connection. And I think everything but the heart on the necklace, but she had like a lot of costume jewelry, so she could have had one, but I'm not sure about that.
There's something about that sign, but thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm just going to listen to the last person.
Sure.
And your name again is Kim, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So we did Sharon first, Kim, and now we have Kelly.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Kelly. How are
I can
you?
very well, thank you. I can take most everything. I can take the Joni, I can take the birds, I can take the piano, I can take the beaded necklace with the heart. It's one that I'm wearing. I can take pretty much. I'm a teacher.
Okay, thank you.
I
That's, I think I'm with you. I really want to talk to you if you can, because you
okay,
talked about the teachers, if it was somebody here. And I think that's
yes.
who she was trying to contact. Your voice is also stronger for some reason. So I want to thank everybody else for participating, but would you work with me, please?
It would be my pleasure and honor to do that,
Thank you.
Reverend.
Thank you. Um, you know, and do you recognize the picture somewhat? The essence of who
Yes,
she is.
yes.
Okay. So she's lovely and but she's no pushover. And I think as she got older, she got a little bit less patience about some things and more patient about others, if you will. You know, she's kind of like let go of a lot of the things she was worried about earlier on in life and got more impatient about people just wasting time or you know, not getting things done, if you will, okay, that were more important. So she just, but she never seemed to be too harsh with you. Um, it seems like she had a tremendous amount of respect and love for you, for who you are, and wants to be with you and help you. And she tells me that you have some abilities. So I do need to mention that. I don't know that of you just from the brief sound of your voice, but it sounds to me like she sees something very powerful in you. So you understand that?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I would say that you should concentrate on her um, love of you and let her help you as you go forward. Okay. Now,
Thank you.
may I ask you who Michael is?
Michael is, I have a cousin, Michael, and then my cousin's husband, his name is Michael, and he is discarnate in the past year.
He just passed, right?
Yes,
All right. So she knows this and she's just letting everybody know that he's okay. I don't see him like I don't think I'm communicating with him. I'm communicating only with her at this point, okay? So and she did get a little bit gaunt towards the end, not terribly so. She doesn't want me to put any more lines on her face. Very
yes,
concerned about that. But not so vain as to just let you know who she is, if you will. Okay. Now you're
thank you.
wearing the necklace, this particular necklace?
I wear the necklace. I have a beaded necklace with a heart. Yes,
Yeah, and the
it's a
beads are,
silver.
they're not all the same color, the beads, right? They're a little bit
The
different.
beads, it's all silver and gold is the
Silver and
necklace.
gold. Okay, that's what I'm, okay. So, so I want to go a little bit further, okay? If you don't mind, just for
That would be,
everybody's sake.
yes.
Why do I want to continue to say Lincoln? Is there a Lincoln Road or Lincoln School or something like that?
Lincoln.
Yeah,
It could be a car, but I would need to think on that one.
okay.
Lincoln. I actually have an Abraham Lincoln doll.
You actually have an Abraham Lincoln doll.
Yes.
Who has an Abraham Lincoln doll? God bless you.
A
Oh my
teacher. A
God.
teacher.
A teacher. Oh, that's right. Okay, cool. Okay, I get it. That's funny though. I'm like, what? I didn't expect that. All right, cool. Well, she's laughing too, so it's good. She's one where she
And
is.
she's acknowledging because that's where the good work comes in.
Yeah, it's definitely the good work. And so that's she's very, very happy for that. She was very ill at the end. Um, and yet she's not one of those people that's whining about it, you know? She really did have a lot of class as far as I'm concerned. You understand that when I say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she's got a lot of power, even in spirit. So I think she can be very, very helpful to you. And so I'm going to leave that with you with light and love. And I wish we could open it up to more, but I want to try to get to one other person before we finish. Okay. So
Thank you.
there it
Thank
is.
you so much,
I hope
Reverend.
you can see her. Okay.
I can. It's beautiful.
God,
It's my grandmother, Marjorie. Thank you.
God bless you. Okay.
Thank you.
If you want this, just go to my website and you can, and we'll send it to you. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody's still there and listening, I hope.
Yeah.
I want to go to a young man. He's kind of bugging me since I started with the woman. So I just said, you're next. So he's kind of sitting with me. And this young man, I think he was formidable in his life. He's very strong. He's very, very capable. He has I want to say a sweet, but kind of a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of, hip humor, if you will. I mean, he can get people going. He loves his friends, and his friends love him. They trust him a lot. I do think he passed rather quickly, and I feel kind of ripped out of the world, if you will, a little bit. So I just need to mention that. I keep coming up with the number 23. So I'm just going to say 23 for some reason as I come forward with this. I also want to mention the name Kevin is around him, not necessarily his name, but it's important to him. I think Kevin may still be here, but that's going to, I'm hoping he'll come a little closer to me, take me on a little bit. As I sit here, I feel like I'm, a very smart young man. I can get the topics I'm interested in. I'll ace them. I'll do really well with that. There are things that I don't care about or I just push aside. He does not like a lot of the old school thinking of the politics of things and things like that. He just doesn't trust, he's at that age. He just doesn't trust anybody over 35, if you will. And so he has some skepticism about how things are done, and he'll voice his opinions about those because he is intelligent and he can think it through. But he is a loving and caring person with a tremendous amount of drive to do well. He does enjoy music quite a bit. I almost think that he tried to play an instrument, does play an instrument. I do want to mention the guitar or the bass because I saw the neck of something there. So I want to mention that as well. I also, as I come closer to this, there is a name that's not quite, I could just give it to me. I almost want to say like a Zach or Zeke or Zach or something like that. It's and sounds like a nickname, but I think it's somebody's name, and it's also mentioned here as I go forward. As I begin to want to draw him, he looks very, very straight up. I do feel pain in my head. I want to say in the left side of my head. I'm getting a lot of difficulty here, a stingy pain. So I'm going to mention that as well. Not that he still has that. He's just showing me that's something that happened. Can anybody understand any of this so far?
You have one hand up, Teresa,
Okay,
and I'll open that.
thank you. Hi, Teresa.
Joe,
Yes,
sorry, my internet froze for a minute, so I missed a little bit.
Okay.
But Kevin is still here, and that's his best friend. He was extracted very quickly.
yes,
He died very, very suddenly.
very suddenly.
Anything else that you want to know about this person? Sorry.
Well, I felt pain in the left-hand side of my head for some reason. Okay,
I don't know which side, but yes, the head.
okay,
You have one other hand up, Joe.
okay. So you didn't hear all the information, correct? Is that correct with the?
Yeah, I froze for a second right before you started calling names.
That stinks, huh? He's very funny. He's very smart. Can be a little bit, he's a little bit, doesn't really buy into all the politics of the day, if you will. Not,
Yes.
he's, he is a real person. I mean, he's honest and he makes himself so. So I do feel good about that as well. This will get worse before it gets better, this picture, but he's very strong in who he is, So I just need to mention that as well, okay?
Mhm.
He crops his hair closely. He doesn't have a, he doesn't have, how can I say it? It's not a, it's not, he's not hippie-ish, if you will, okay? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, he crops his hair short. That's
Yeah,
accurate.
very short, okay. And
Yes,
not quite military, but close. You understand that?
yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So if you just stay with me for a minute, okay? And then
Mhm.
I'm just going to ask if we can hear from the other person, just so I give them a chance to speak up. And,
The other person put their hand down, so.
okay, then that's fine. Then that's fine. We'll stay right here. Because I do think I'm with it, but I didn't want to insult anybody by leaving them out, okay? I feel like I'm going to go a little bit further. Now, I keep hearing my own name spoken over and over again, which is Joseph Patrick John. I want to kind of say John or James. Who is that, please? Do you understand that name?
There,
That may be living as well.
yeah, there's somebody significant that around this situation by that name, yes.
Okay.
Around the death.
Around the death, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
You do have
So
another
stay with
hand
me.
go up, So I'm not sure if you want to open it up to this next person.
Well, hold on. Well, hold on one moment. I think I'm going to stay right here.
Okay,
Because
thanks.
first I'll ask you, are you recognizing the picture? It's not quite together yet. But to the first sitter,
Yes,
okay.
I mean, yeah,
You recognize the essence of this picture?
the eyes for sure, and the narrow chin,
Yep.
had, kind of the more narrow chin, yeah.
Yep. Well, bear with me, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you would, if I were to say it, it almost felt like he was killed. Do you understand that?
It was an accident. There was an
Yeah.
accident.
It was, okay. So it feels accidental, but it feels like, he was taken out very quickly. He didn't have a lot of time to fight the fight to stay here, if you will. Okay.
Mhm.
And so when somebody's ripped away, of course, it's tragic because we don't get a chance to say goodbye, and a lot of people didn't. However, there was a memorial for him that was pretty special and well attended, if you will. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And a lot of the music he liked was played, but I want to say, why am I hearing that song on Angel's Wings? Is that
Fro-
used or something?
I can't remember, but it would make sense that On Eagle's Wings would be played, yes.
Okay, because there's something
If-
about eagles or hawks that he likes a lot. So I'm just going to mention that. Okay. And I heard, did you understand the 23?
I haven't quite put the 23. Um,
2,
I haven't
3,
quite put the
like
23 together.
February possibly?
I'm not sure if it's possible that's around his birthday, but I can't remember.
Okay.
And
So Pam, is just to be kind to the other person, is the other person's hand still up?
No, she put it down.
Okay, that's fine then. That's fine. I just didn't want to upset somebody here. I just want to let you know I feel like I'm with this
Mhm.
person here. And I want to say that there's a concern for Kevin who's still here. You'd understand that?
That
Without
he
going-
has a concern for the Kevin, yes, that would make
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, there
Yes.
just seems to be a concern for him. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Almost like there's sometimes it happens that when people are around these situations, they take it on themselves,
Mhm.
and that seems like the concern he has is to let it go, just forgive. Okay.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
that seems to be quite important. Okay.
mhm.
You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And wants to thank you as well, because you were a power around it, and you showed the love and the patience for people around this whole situation. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes, it does.
So he's very grateful to you, and that's why he's coming through. Okay, you're not
Mhm.
family, though, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're not a family member?
No, I'm not a family member, no.
Okay, but it's what you did that made the most sense, if you will, okay?
Mhm.
His ears are a little bit, he wants me to taper them down. He said they're a little bit big. So I'm gonna just taper them back just a bit, so I don't think it's necessarily my drawing, but I think he had, his ears were a little bit larger than most. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
I feel good with him. I feel like he's in a good place, and he's really been praying a lot for family, and it feels like he
Mhm.
left some siblings behind. You'd understand that as well.
Yes, he did.
A sister for one. You understand
Yes.
that?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
And who's Kate or Caitlin? Who is that to him?
Related to him,
Not
I
related,
have
just somebody he's speaking about.
I have a Caitlin,
You
but
do.
but
Okay.
not connect. I mean, it's not connected to him. But
Okay.
Caitlin makes sense to me personally.
Then he's naming something here that he sees around you, and that's important to know.
Mhm.
That's just more connection that it is that I am with you.
Mhm.
And because you're not family, it's sometimes where the familiar voice isn't what works, but that does for sure. So that's great. That's fantastic. So he is trying to get through to you and to Kevin to let you know that he's around, that he appreciates everything that was done. He appreciates the
Mhm.
material because it was quite important to him, and that he did not have time to really kind of think it through, if you will. And so we're talking about today, and the actual talk was he kind of went racing forward, okay? And maybe should have thought a little bit before things. Got it?
Mhm.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say that this young man is got a brilliant personality. He's still around. I would let his family members know that he's there. Do you recognize him?
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
do.
God bless.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Thank you so much for taking the message. I know that we're out of time, so I did want to let him come through because he seemed like a really nice young man. And I appreciate all of you listening to me today and bearing with me as I struggle to say hello to them and let them through. So thank you very much. And if you want the picture, I'll definitely send it to you. So just let me know. Just go to my website or call the church, and we'll get it through to you. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. He is a faithful person too. For a young man, he's got a lot of faith, and I want to mention that. You'd know that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
God bless.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thanks, Pam, for that, helping me out.
Yes, thank you for these powerful drawings and links. And then if you can switch us back to the main screen.
Oh, you reminded me. Good view. There we go. I don't know where it is.
Let's
What
see,
the heck?
the view options.
There it is. There we
Okay,
go. Thank you.
all right, very good. Lower your hands.
I'm learning.
Yeah, well, Zoom is an ongoing challenge. So this concludes the demonstration of our spirit communication. I thank everyone for attending the service, and special thanks, of course, to you, Joe, for those lovely drawings. So we're just going to close the service with prayer and then song. If you could bring the prayer first, Joe.
Thank you, everybody. Let's pause right now and think about our week ahead and about the things we can do to bring love, and peace, and joy to those we love, to the strangers around us, to be a light within the world that can bring hope and understanding, compassion, generosity. And we thank God for the ability to see the truth and the beauty within each and every one of us. I thank you so much for being here today. And I ask you all to have the best week you've ever had. Many blessings. Amen.
Thank you. Please enjoy the final song. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.